I've been contemplating this idea for a while now. For the past 2 weeks or two, I have accumulated 50 hours of gameplay consisting of strictly squads in first person, mostly in Miramar but sometimes in other maps too. I've noticed that not every squad match with randoms is not always as tight as it can be. And it's happened to me enough times in the squad matches that I've played in that it sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, I started playing this game called Hell Let Loose almost about a year ago, a World War II shooter that benefits from teamwork a lot that it's probably almost a necessity. I encourage you to try that game if you're about that teamwork life. I also thought you could very well apply a couple of things from that game to PUBG with squads. A match with randoms can have the ability to be really satisfying. You just have to find the key to unlock it. Problem number 1. Solo jumping into a hotspot or very far away while in squad mode and being a lone wolf. This is by far the worst offender of the problems I'm gonna state, and is tied almost always directly with the second problem, but we'll get to that later. Google a small group of people having a particular task. Merriam-Webster, a small group engaged in a common effort or occupation. Cambridge Dictionary, a small group of people trained to work together as a unit. Well, it's impossible to engage in a common effort, work together as a unit, and target a particular task when someone in the squad roleplays as a lone wolf gunslinger and ends up dying to some other posse who's either outgunned or outnumbered them. Most likely both. I honestly don't understand why people do this. There is always the arcade team deathmatch mode or the training map if they want to warm up or like that kind of gameplay. Or heck, you can play solos if you don't want to end up being absolutely useless to your squad when they reach late game and you're a makeshift crate 2 kilometers away, by which time you've already left the game. Sure, you can say that you might survive, you didn't jump in a hotspot or something thereabouts, but remember, you're in a squad, you're in this together. That way, if one is in an engagement, the others are close enough to provide assistance. You know that motto from Bad Boys? We ride together, we die together. Bad Boys for life. Problem number 2. Jumping in a hotspot. I said earlier that this was almost always directly tied to the first one, because the majority of solo jumpers I have encountered in the 50 hours I've been playing almost always jump in a hotspot, only to die not even 2 minutes later. Congratulations, you are now a forsaken crate looted by another player. Who pays for your actions for the rest of the match? Your remaining squad does, and they are down one man or woman. You could have been helpful to them. Of course, there are also squads that jump into hotspots, and from my experience, most of the time, they don't end up any better. Only 3 outcomes can come out of this. The most rewarding is that the whole squad survives. Second would be someone or some people die in the squad, or third, everyone dies. It's hard to bet my chips on the whole squad surviving, because this hasn't happened to me, ever. Which is even harder if you're playing with randoms, and there is always a casualty, and it's the worst when you're the only survivor left. But there is a fourth option, and you probably know what that is, which is not to jump in a hotspot. A revolutionary and game-changing meta, tactic, mechanic, maneuver. How do you do this? Well, it's simple really. Step 1, don't jump into a hotspot. Isn't the end game around trying to reach number 1 Jumping in a hotspot is really trying hard to get a chicken dinner. The cons of landing in a hotspot outweigh the pros. You have no idea what skills or who you're up against, and you have a 25% shared responsibility of performing as part of a squad. Unless you've got good comms, superb marksmanship, and the reflexes, just land somewhere safe within skydiving reach together, get some loot, kill some enemies, drive to the circle, kill some more enemies, maybe reach the top 10, and possibly even get a win. Problem 3. Among other things, there are some other minutiae that really take the ticker, but they are either really picky or virtually out of immediate human control, or are nonsensical farted out of a temporal anomaly. One problem I can think of is, what if you don't have a mic? Well, you can and should use the in-game marking mechanics. They are, in my opinion, provide enough, if not the basics, for communication. Marking enemies or something is easy, as the notifications pop up for your eyes to notice them. But vocal communication is king. When two individuals speak the same language, because it's malleable and more flexible due to not being restricted to a fixed mechanic. Among other things, I covered what I believe to be the biggest problems I've encountered with squads with randoms gameplay wise. Of course, there are other problems gameplay wise like cheating and team killing, but that's for another video. PUBG squads with randoms can be better. You just need to fix a couple things, and they aren't even that game changing or hard to do. So what we just covered was, do not solo jump, avoid hotspots, always stick together, and communicate as best as you can. That's all, and thank you.